Hello and welcome to BBC World News. I'm Martine Dennis. These are our top stories this morning. A coach has fallen about 30 metres off a flyover on a major highway in southern Italy, killing at least 38 people. Several others survived the accident and are now being treated in hospital. Some, though, have serious injuries. It's believed the vehicle was returning passengers to Naples when it left the road near the town of Avellino. That's in the Campania region. Alan Johnston reports now from Rome. Well, Sandro Di Domenico is a photojournalist for the Italian newspaper Corriere del Mezzogiorno, and he was at the scene and told us what he'd seen. That was Sandro Di Domenico, who actually saw that coach plunge off the viaduct. Now to Egypt, where fierce divisions are continuing to be played out in violent scenes on the streets. Supporters of the ousted president, Mohamed Morsi, have called for a million-man march in Cairo tomorrow, that's Tuesday, as they continue to seek his reinstatement. The army-backed government, meanwhile, has been warning them not to go beyond peaceful demonstration. Meanwhile, two leading members of the moderate Islamist Wasat party have been arrested. We can go live now to Cairo and speak to the BBC's Middle East correspondent Jim Muir. And Jim, these latest two arrests give us an indication that the opposition to this new interim army-led government is not just comprised of Muslim Brotherhood people. And into this incredibly tense situation comes the EU Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton. What's her message likely to be, and will she be heeded? OK, for now, Jim, thanks very much. Jim Muir, our Middle East correspondent, reporting live there in Cairo. Now, Fiji this morning has branded as arrogant Australia's decision to send asylum seekers who arrived by boat to Papua New Guinea. The foreign minister said he was shocked that there'd been no regional consultation about the controversial policy. He added that Australia has used its economic influence without considering the long-term consequences on regional stability. Votes are being counted in Mali's presidential election amid a record turnout in some areas. This is the first poll since last year's military coup and foreign military intervention. Observers say it's a chance to bring some stability to the country, which is continuing to fight an Islamist insurgency in the north. The town where a Spanish train crashed last week is preparing for a memorial service later today to pay tribute to the 79 people who died. It'll be held in Santiago de Compostela's famous cathedral. The train's driver, Francisco José Garzón, has been released from custody, having been provisionally charged with 79 counts of negligent homicide. He's been placed under strict bail conditions. From Santiago de Compostela, Robert Hall reports. Cambodia has been ruled by one person since 1985, but the country's opposition party has now rejected Hun Sen's claim of victory in Sunday's elections. We've got a lot more to come here at BBC World News this morning, including Taiwan's defence minister resigns after outrage over the death of a conscript in military detention.
Over the world.
Welcome to the world's newsroom, where our journalists are helping to transform our programmes. We're talking to people who know the stories better than anyone in the world.
A lot of Egyptians are feeling that the political and the economic situation hasn't changed at all over the past year.
In South Korea, you can study magic as a performance art as a university degree, so they put an awful lot of work and study into the stuff they're performing.
97% of scientists in a recent survey were saying that climate change was happening and was predominantly man-made. And even a lot of climate change skeptics agree that.
I remember when Angelina Jolie visited Pakistan a few years ago, it was big news. I met this minister who was, you know, he was like a little fanboy when he said, "Oh, I met Angelina, she's so beautiful."
The world's newsroom, every day on BBC World News.
You're with BBC World News. I'm Martine Dennis. These are the top stories. Reports speak of at least 38 people having been killed after a coach fell 30 metres off a viaduct in southern Italy. Positions harden on both sides in Egypt as protesters defy the army-led government's demand for an end to demonstrations. And one of the deadliest series of attacks the country has seen recently, a wave of car bombs has hit mainly Shia areas of Baghdad, killing at least 48 people. Police say the explosions were coordinated, targeting busy markets and crowded streets during the morning rush hour. Now, these bombings follow a pattern of escalating sectarian violence that has left more than 3,000 people dead since April. Well, here in the studio with me is Rami Ruhayem. He's the BBC's Arab Affairs editor. And Rami, why? All right, for now, Rami, thanks very much indeed. Rami Ruhayem there, our Arab Affairs editor. Now we go to Syria, where the state television is reporting troops having fully captured the main district in the embattled city of Homs. For the first time in nearly 3 years, the Israelis and Palestinians are set to hold face-to-face peace talks in Washington later today. There are only talks about talks, but nonetheless that's being seen as something of an achievement after months of intense diplomacy led by US Secretary of State John Kerry. From Washington, here's Katie Watson. Now, Taiwan's defence minister has resigned after the death of a soldier who was being held in military detention. He died after he was forced to perform intensive physical exercises as part of his punishment. Well, here in the studio with me is Raymond Lee. He's editor of the BBC's Chinese service. And Raymond, tell us why this particular case of a man, obviously it's a very, very significant case of a soldier being forced to perform such intense exercises that he dies of the exertion. That's significant. But why has it led to the resignation of the defence minister? So we also understand that 4 army officers who were directly involved in this incident have been arrested, and this is clearly an excessive instance of bad practice within the armed forces. But what does it tell us about Taiwan that it's led to a big political scalp? Raymond Lee, I'm sure we'll be talking about this more, won't we, in the future? Thank you, Raymond Lee, our editor of our Chinese section. Now, Hollywood superstar Johnny Depp has told the BBC that he may quit acting soon. However, there's at least one more Pirates of the Caribbean movie planned, one of the roles with which he's now most closely associated. He was speaking to Susanna Reid as his latest film, The Lone Ranger, in which he plays Tonto, hits cinema screens around the world. And we stay with Hollywood because a collection of costumes from the classic 1965 film The Sound of Music has sold for $1.3 million at auction. You're with BBC World News. I'm Martine Dennis. These are the headlines. And those are the latest headlines from BBC World News.